Hey, hey, happy day. A lot of chaos is going on in the world. Hey, I'm worn out. I'm exhausted. How are you doing? It's wild stuff. Before we get into all of that heavy and wild stuff, let's talk a little bit about fun stuff and crazy stuff. I think the Prime Minister in Canada must have had a hand in this. He must be using your money, if you're a Canadian, to help this. It's kind of his style. There's a company in the United Kingdom that has developed a burp-catching mask for a cow. Duh. Really? For a cow. It'll help slow the spread of greenhouse gas emissions, which is a key component in the force of climate change. Trudeau's got to be involved in that mess somehow, because that makes no sense. They just continue to walk among us, these crazy people. Now we get into the real wild stuff, okay? The Toronto Star should change her name to the Red Star. That'll be in Canada. A woman there, a white woman. I think she's white. I saw her picture. Her name maybe isn't. Her Cherie Paradaka or something, but she certainly looks white. Color shouldn't matter anyway, but here's what she talks about. Firstly, let me tell you what she is. She's a columnist, race and gender columnist. What does that tell you? What kind of a handle is that? Race and gender columnist? Are you kidding me? She goes like this. Let it be remembered that it was white people who were allowed to breach the United States Capitol. Tens of thousands of white people. This is in a newspaper, a national newspaper. Maybe it's not national. A lot of people read it nationally, certainly online. It's a huge newspaper in Toronto. Wow. Tens of thousands of white people, armed white people, flag-bearing white people, maskless white people. Maskless, not wearing a mask when the United States hit 21 million cases of COVID-19. Hold it. What about all those dark black guys that were protesting a couple of weeks ago? Miss whoever you are. What about them? You didn't write about that. Very different color than me and other people. Boy, oh boy, I hate bigots, and this woman is clearly a bigot. She goes on to say these white people are depraved racists. That's so insulting. White people are the only group that can spin a fake grievance into violent chaos and not face bodily harm. Imagine if they were a crowd of black people. Imagine if they were Indians, Canadian Indians, peacefully occupying their own territories. We don't need to imagine any of that, really. You break that down, that is just so wild. What a goof she is. To say stuff like that, I mean, that just brings up hatred, brings up all kinds of things in so many people, because it's just wrong. It's terribly wrong what she said. Well, firstly, it's not true. What a nut. Here's a black woman. A Canadian political black person, I guess. She's a senior public servant of the Public Health Agency of Canada. Okay, Public Health Agency. Are you with me? She accepted a free all-expense plan paid trip to Jamaica, courtesy of Air Canada. And she went there and she had a butler and lived it up. And this is the same person or group of persons who are telling Canadians, don't leave your house, stay locked up. And she does that, but she's black. So let's not give her any sass. Where's that race columnist person thing? Then you have a Chinese descent person in Alberta. Look at all these different people, Toronto Star. Imagine that. Too bad they aren't all white. You could really dig at them, right? This MLA Tani Yayo, he apologizes for being unreachable. In Mexico, we told everybody to stay home, but I went to Mexico, and that's okay for me because I'm special, right? But I needed to be unreachable because I wanted to disconnect. That's what he said. I wanted to disconnect. But hold it now, Tanny. You and your group being all of your little MLA types and the Premier included, you're already disconnected. You're disconnected from reality. You're disconnected from the peoplehood that you're supposed to look after and work for. You have a major disconnect going on. Y'all don't care about anybody except yourselves. Then you have the Prime Minister in Canada. He says this: politicians should have known better than to travel. I am disappointed. Hold it now. That's coming from the chairman of the board of the Should Have Known Better Foundation, right? Because everything he does, he should have known better. He does a lot of bad things. He's taken money with making speeches, and he got caught, he gave it back. I think the ethics committee has said you're guilty at least twice, maybe even more times than that. He's only been caught as like speeding, right? You only get caught now and again. If you get 2 or 3 tickets in your life driving down the highway, that means that you were probably speeding many more times than that, but the police can't be everywhere all of the time. It's coming from him. And then the last thing I got here today is CTV News in Canada now is reporting that Canadian snowbirds charter private jets to fly to the United States for faster COVID vaccinations. The story goes that anyone over 65 is able to get vaccinated. That's a nice headline. I don't think it's true. I don't think so. I'm in the United States now as we speak, and I have friends who say, hey, if you're over 75 and an American, Trump's legacy is still kind of there. It's America first, you know. I think that's pretty fakey news, kind of like that other stuff. Some of it, I don't think you can fly down here and say, hey, I'm from another country, give it to me first. Good luck with that. Hey, I'll come back here tomorrow. We're going to more for you from the right, and I'll really get into more of this chaotic stuff. I'm still in shock, I guess, today from all of this stuff that's been going on. I mean, I don't drink, but I think maybe I should go out and start. Invite me over. See ya.